morning and a positive morning. So, I am your teacher and guide for the subject drafting. Okay, so we would be studying good morning, Kaviba. Good morning, Harsini. Okay, good morning, Aditya. Good morning, everyone. So nice to see you all again. Okay, so guys and girls, we would be starting with a new subject today. Good morning, Gayatri. Good morning, Kavya. Okay, so good morning, everyone. And today we would be starting with what? With a very new subject, that is drafting. Guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, okay, we are supposed to do what? We are supposed to today understand how we would be having this class, okay, doing things in the class, and how this subject goes. Okay, so today it's gonna be introductory session, obviously, and then we would be starting with chapter 1 as well today. Okay, that's how it would be going. So we would be speaking about, so a lot of students are my old student only, but then a lot of people might not know me also. So I would be talking about myself, who I am, what I've done, etc. We would be talking about the basics of drafting. Okay, how these classes are different from the normal ones. What is what is the most important part of the class, what you can expect in the classes, and I'm gonna give you challenge of the day. Okay, so that's how the class would be. So let's talk about first me. Okay, so I am CS Neha Ladha. I have done CS, MBA and MCom. Okay, 18 years now, in fact 18 years of teaching experience. I've written 5 books and have been visiting faculties for many colleges. You name a stream of CS commerce, and I've taught students of that stream, be it ACCA, CIMA, be it CA, CS, LLB, okay, MCom, MBA. So I've taught the students of that particular stream. So, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, okay, let's talk about the basics of the subject. Okay, let's talk about the basics of the subject. Okay, now guys and girls, this subject, if I have to talk about drafting, appearances and pleading, right? Okay, drafting, appearances and pleading, right? So we have this particular paper. Okay, this paper is actually paper number 2. I don't know why I've written 3. This is paper number 2, which is there for the subject. Guys and girls, a very, very important thing that we need to understand is what? The objective. What does institute want you to, which kind of knowledge institute wants you to have in this particular subject? So guys and girls, they say you need to have expert knowledge of the subject. See, there are 2 types of knowledge they are expecting. For few subjects, it's working knowledge. For few subjects, it's expert knowledge. So let's talk about executives, because you have already done that, so you know it. When we talk about economic laws and IPR, that was a working knowledge subject. You should have knowledge, but not in depth. But when we talk about company law there, okay, the knowledge that was required was expert knowledge, which means in depth. Here also it's in depth knowledge which is required. When I talk about the number of chapters, there are 14 chapters in all. How many chapters? 14 chapters in the subject. Okay. Now 14 chapters are actually divided into 2 parts. One part is about drafting, and second part is about pleading and appearances. Okay, second part is about what? Pleading and appearances. Right? So drafting is 70 marks. Okay, drafting is 70 marks. Appearances is 30 marks. Okay, drafting, you have only 8 chapters for 70 marks. So roughly, though this is not the correct thing, but roughly, 8 to 9 marks for each chapter. So this 8 chapters, you should have done it so nicely that any question which comes from here, you should be able to answer it. This 30 marks have 6 chapters. Okay, 6 chapters are there. So roughly 5 marks each chapter is there. Okay, 5 marks each chapter is there. But comparatively, pleading is very easy. Okay, if I say drafting, more than drafting, pleadings are easy for you. So if I was you, I would have done this 30 marks very, 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 very nicely. Okay, in depth, properly, nothing left. And in drafting, obviously, I would have studied 70 marks is there. But this is like a ocean, guys and girls. Okay, where you are supposed to do what? You're supposed to do a lot of drafts. You're supposed to prepare a lot of drafts there. Okay, so that is how you are supposed to have the strategy of the subject. Okay, now guys and girls, let's talk about, I have told this story and I don't want to talk about this story. Now, what are we supposed to do? Cover the syllabus completely, do a scanner discussion, have some quiz, okay, and expertise the subject. So guys and girls, when I talk about the subject, my target is very simple, hashtag 60 plus in drafting. Okay, every subject that I teach, this is the hashtag that I work with. And you are also supposed to set your own targets for the subject once the subject is over. For few people, drafting may be tough. For few people, drafting may be easy. So for people it is easy, you can keep 70 as the target. 70 too much, no? No, it is not. Because if you keep higher targets, then only you'll be somewhere landing to 60, 65. Right? So that's why it's important that you understand this particular thing properly. Now, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, okay, we are supposed to now start with the first chapter of the subject. You have to have a notebook for the subject because there is a lot of writing which would be involved. Okay, you have to practice writings here. Every topic that we would be studying would have a writing in that particular thing. So today we finish the topic. Tomorrow we'll do a summary note for the chapter. Or you may do it today home also. You may draft the summary notes for chapter 1 and keep it ready. That is how you would be doing the subject. Clear? Now we are supposed to start with the first chapter of the subject, which is types of documents. Okay, very, very, very easy chapter. Okay, there is nothing much in the chapter. It's all concept based. And once you understand the concept. So today I am giving you rule number 1 for drafting. Try and understand concept rather than mugging up. This subject cannot work on mugging up, guys and girls. This subject, you are supposed to make sure what? That you are doing what here? You are understanding the concept. Clear with the concept or not? Understood everyone or no? Okay. So what are we supposed to study here in this chapter? Okay, when I talk about this particular chapter, okay, what are we supposed to study here in this chapter? So guys and girls, the name of the chapter is types of documents, right? Don't make any chart because I'll give you the charts at the end. Types of documents. This is the chapter that we are supposed to study. So first we would be studying meaning of words. Which type of words? 4 or 5 words are there. 1, what is meant by document? Second, what is meant by deed? Third, what is meant by contract? Okay, so that is something that we would be studying, meanings. Then guys and girls, there would be various types of documents which are given. For example, they have given circular, notice, note, bank guarantee. So like this, there are so many types of documents that they have actually given us in the essay. For each of the topics, there are usually 2 to 3 topics. One obviously would be what? Meaning, what is meant by it. Second usually would be its content, what is included in circular, like this content would be given, what all things you are supposed to include in this particular thing. Third thing that would be usually there is some drafting rules. For few it may be given, for few it may not be given. And fourth, they would give you the draft. Okay, that's it. So this is how the chapter is divided. First chapter. Are you clear? Everyone say yes or no. Are you clear? So first chapter is all about what? The meanings of the various terms and the various types of documents which are there. So with the breather break, we'll start formally chapter number 1. Okay. First thing, we are supposed to study what is a document. What is a document? Can anyone tell me? Online students, offline students, can you tell me what is exactly a document? Anybody? What is document? So anything which is in writing is a document. What is written on the screen, is it a document? Yes. Anything which is written, it is in writing form, is a document. When doctor is giving you a prescription, is it a document? Yes. The answer is what? It is a document. So a document is one or more official piece of paper with writing on them. Okay. So what is document? What is this? So when this is given by Arivu, these notes are given by Arivu to you, it is in writing. Yes, this is a document. So one, it should be official, and second, it should be something which is written. So this dictionary, this meaning comes from the dictionary, okay, from the Collins dictionary. Clear? Okay, it comes from the Collins dictionary. Now there is an act called as General Clauses Act, which gives definitions. They have defined the term document under section 3 subsection 18. Okay, 3 subsection 18. And shall include any matter written, expressed or described upon any substance by means of letter, figures or marks, or by more than one of those means which is intended to be used or which may be used for the purpose of recording that matter. So anything which is written, which is expressed where it is expressed in letter, figures or marks, anything. When doctor is writing like this, what is this? It is prescription, RX, right? Which is, I am prescribing this. So this is a kind of what? It's a kind of letter, or you can say mark, which is very commonly known to the people. This is a document. So one, it has to be in writing. Second, it can be letters, figures or marks. And third, why it is done? To record a particular matter. Now, Companies Act section 2 subsection 36 defines the term document. Actually, everything is same. They have given different definition, that's it. Something which is in written, okay, and which records a particular aspect, which is official, which means document includes summons, notices, requisitions, order, declaration, forms and registers, whether issued, sent or kept in pursuance of this act or under any other law for the time being in force, maintained on paper or in electronic form. So they have now given one extra definition to the word document, which is what? That it also includes electronic format. So right now it's an electronic format for you. Yes, that is nothing but a Income Tax Act also defines the term document. Document is defined in 2(1)(t). Okay, document includes an electronic record as defined in 2(1)(t) of Information Technology Act. IT Act provides that electronic records means data, records or data generated, images or sound stored, received or sent in the electronic form or microfilm or computer generated this. So guys and girls, The short story for this is very simple. What is a document? Anything which is in writing to record a particular purpose. Okay, it's an official piece. So I will do one thing. I will mark the points for you. This is point A. That is, it is official. This is point B. Now, this is point C. This writing can be in letters, figures, or marks. This is point 4, which means what? Sorry, D, which means what? It can be in electronic format as well. Anyone who has any doubts in this? So if I go to my chart, meaning the first topic is done. Online students, anything which is not clear, offline students, what is a document? It is something which is an official record, which is in writing. This writing can be in the form of letters, figures, or marks. Very good. And last one is what? It can be in electronic format as well. Anybody who has not understood this, please ask. Doubts are there? Please ask. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next. What is deed? Okay. What is exactly a deed? Okay. Now, guys and girls, what is a deed? So, when I talk about document, a very important thing that we need to understand is deeds are instruments, but all instruments are not deeds. We'll understand this concept in a while. Now, what is a deed? A deed is a writing. Okay, it has to be in written format. Oral thing cannot be a deed. For timing, leave these words. Okay, on paper, sealed and delivered. Sealed means what? Signed and sealed. Okay, both should be there. Suppose Arivu is signing the contract, so it should be Arivu contract plus Arivu seal plus somebody from Arivu should sign it. So it should be sealed and delivered. Now this is very important. What is happening? Interest. What is meant by the word interest? Which means a right. Which means the right that you were having, now somebody else would have. Right? For example, you've given the property on rent, on lease. So lease is a deed. Lease agreement is a deed. Why? Because rights are getting transferred. Okay, so interest, rights, or property passes, or an obligation binding on some person is created, or which is an affirmance of some act whereby an interest, right, or property has been passed. I will supply goods to you. A said to B, I will supply 100 kg or let's say 1000 kg of X goods. Okay. And B said, I will pay you. And B said, I will pay you 1 lakh rupees for this goods. What is this? This, and they have made a document. This document is signed. Okay, everything is done. So what is this, guys and girls? It's a deed. Because here it's an affirmance. You're affirming. You're saying, I will give you goods. So here the rights on goods are getting transferred to the other person. Are you clear with the concept or not? So what is deed in simple words? It should be in writing on a paper, sealed, and it is and ka condition, guys and girls. Very important, and ka condition. It is delivered whereby an interest, rights, or property passes, or an obligation binding on some person is created, or affirmance to do an act whereby an interest, right, or property has been passed. Is the concept clear to you or not? Now let me go back to the definition and finish the definition for you. Okay, so guys and girls, Where is the eraser? Okay. So guys and girls, I wrote a deed is a writing on paper, vellum or parchment. So vellum and parchment are old time things. Remember, in olden times there was no paper. So people used to write on the skin of animals. Okay, that was nothing but parchment. Then slowly they moved on to butter papers. That is nothing but vellums. Are you clear with the concept or not? Okay. So what is a deed? A deed is a PSD. Okay. What is P? A deed is in writing on paper, sealed and delivered. Okay. PSD. What is happening? Whereby, okay, the interest, rights or property passes, obligation is created, or affirmation of some act is done. Okay, so that is nothing but deed. So deed is normally used to describe all instruments by which two or more person agree to affect any rights or liabilities. आगे बात समझ में, simple language, right? Are you clear with the simple words which is there? So anything which creates rights or liabilities for any of the parties, two or more parties, is called as what? It is called as deed. They've given examples: give deed, sale deed, deed of partitions, partnership deed, deed of family settlement, lease deed, mortgage deed, etc. Right? Clear with the concept or not? Understood? So what is a deed? A deed is in writing, PSD, writing PSD on paper, sealed and delivered. What does it does? It creates interest, rights, okay, RIP, rights, interest or property passes. Okay, so PSD, RIP, rest in peace. Okay, rights, interest and or property passes, or an obligation binding on some person is created. In Halsbury Law of England, a deed has been defined as an instrument written on parchment or paper. Now, different people are doing different definitions. There is nothing which is new. Deed is definitely an instrument, but all instruments are not deeds. Right? All instruments are not deeds. For example, check. It is an instrument, but it is not a deed. So deed is an instrument, but all instruments are not deeds. The third thing that we need to study is agreement. Let's go to the chart here. Okay, contract and agreement. What is a deed? You know it. It is PSD. Okay, PSD did what? Rest in peace. Okay, so that ways it's very easy. Now, what is an agreement? Can I say for drafting purposes, guys and girls, wherever you see the word agreement, agreement and contract is one and the same thing. Ma'am, ऐसे कैसे? Foundation में we have studied agreement is different than contract. Something which is enforceable at law is in contract. Guys and girls, only for drafting purposes, because you'll hear this word a lot, agreement everywhere. So agreement word you'll keep hearing a lot. Okay, so agreement is equals to contract. Okay, so an agreement which is enforceable at law is a contract. Generally, when the contract is reduced in writing, the document itself is called as what? Agreement. Now, did you understood why I said what is an agreement? Agreement हुआ है ना? You might have heard this word, right? Rent agreement हुआ है. Why didn't they say rent contract हुआ है? Because, okay, in drafting, wherever the word is used agreement, which means a contract. It is reduced in writing, that's why we are calling it as agreement. Okay? Accordingly, there cannot be an agreement unless there are two or more parties that agree to perform certain acts or refrain from doing some act. I don't think I need to explain this much because you know it. The purpose of instrument is to bind the parties to the terms and conditions. While preparing agreement, it is necessary and important that the intention of the parties should be set forth explicitly so as not to leave any room for doubts. All the terms and conditions of the agreement should be clearly written so that there is no doubt, right? The language should be simple and the words used should be definite and precise. No loose words should be used. Okay, such as proper. What is proper for you may not be proper for me, right? May not be proper for me. So the words should be very reasonably used. Clear with the concept or not? Understood? Now there are various types of agreement. Very difficult. Okay. First one is what? Sale purchase agreement. Okay. Commercial agency agreement. So if somebody is giving agency to anyone to sell their goods, you go for commercial agency agreement. Collaboration agreements. When two parties join together, collaborate, they join together. For example, let's say Arivu. They join with any online big classes, let's say Unacademy or something, and they say that we would be teaching for you. So what is this? This is nothing but collaboration agreements. Are you clear with the concept or not? Arbitration agreement, where the parties are deciding that if there's a dispute which happens between the two of us, where will that dispute go? It would go to arbitrator. Okay. Hypothecation agreement. What is hypothecation agreement? Where you have agreed that the goods, okay, the goods, against the goods you will get loans. The goods does not pass to the other person. Please understand. The goods are with me only. This is with me only. But okay, if I don't pay the money, they have the right to confiscate. So that is hypothecation. It is a document by which legal property in goods passes to the person who lends the money on them, but the possession does not pass. Get it? Correct. Charge is nothing but hypothecation ka hi part. Are you clear with the concept or not? What is hypothecation? I'll tell you a simple example. You take cars on EMIs. That is nothing but hypothecation. Car is with me till such time I pay the amount. The moment I don't pay the EMI, what will they do? They'll take my car and go. So the legal property in the goods passes to the person who lends the money. Bank is lending the money. It legal right over those goods passes. Okay, ownership passes. But the property remains with till such time you don't pay the hypothecation money. Are you clear with the concept or not? Next is outsourcing agreements. Now what is outsourcing agreement? There are two types of activities, guys and girls, in the organization. Core activities, non-core activities. Let's talk about Arivu. What is the core activity, main activity of Arivu? Teaching, students procurement, notes properly dispatched, faculty onboarding, right? What is non-core activity of Arivu? HR related work. So when the non-core work is given to an outside agency, that is called as what? Outsourcing agreement. Let's take another example. Talk about Airtel. Okay, let's talk about Airtel. What is their main business? Service providing, networks. Okay, proper network should be there. Proper services related to network should be there. Is customer care their core activity or non-core activity? Non-core activity. So most of these people have done what? All the non-core activities are transferred. Are you clear with the concept or not? All the non-core activities are transferred. Clear? Okay, cool. Next, agreement for assignment. So my rights, I am giving it to somebody else. Okay. Especially this is done for IPRs. Assignments is done for intellectual property rights. Patent. Patent is mine. I have created the product, but I give the rights to manufacture that product to somebody else. What is this? Assignment. Are you clear with the concept of assignment or not? Understood, everyone? Okay, next. Shareholders agreement. Now, what is shareholders agreement? Okay, agreement in with the shareholders. Okay, if it is a private company, they would usually have the agreements there. Okay, they would usually have what? Agreements there. Okay, so where rights of the shareholders is mentioned, it is called as what? Shareholders agreement. Next, employment agreement. So 9 types of agreements are there. You can see the agreements and ask doubt. So types of agreement, guys and girls, I'll give you an acronym. CSCA has employment outsourcing. Can you remember this? CACS has employment outsourcing. C stands for what? Commercial, sorry. C stands for what? Commercial agency agreement. S stands for what? Sale purchase agreement. C stands for what? Collaboration agreement. A stands for what? Arbitration agreements. Okay, has. H stands for hypothecation. A stands for agreement for assignment. S stands for shareholders. What CACS has? Employment outsourcing. Employment means employment agreement. Outsourcing means outsourcing agreement. CACS has employment outsourcing, right? So C again, tell the points. चलो देखते कितना याद है. C, sorry, commercial agreements. Okay, commercial agency agreements actually. CA, okay, CS, first yes. S is what? Sale purchase agreement. CS के बाद C, collaboration agreement. A is arbitration agreement. Has H, hypothecation agreement. A, assignment agreement. S, shareholders agreement. Employment agreement. Outsourcing agreement. Okay, all the 9 agreements you remember with one small acronym. So guys and girls, here what is an agreement? It is nothing but a contract in writing, right? And what are the various types? So types is nothing but CA, CA has employment outsourcing, right? So that is nothing but your point. Oh, you can't see. Okay, so this is what we would be reducing. So till date we have studied what is a first document, what is a deed, and what is an agreement. Clear? Any doubts? You can ask the doubts. Now what is a contract? Now I have already told you. Here contract means what? Agreement and contract means same thing. I don't think I need to explain these concepts to you. Okay. Now, can you read the difference between deed, agreement, and contract? Very easy. Now, here agreement means actually agreement only. Because there is one more given, which is contract. Okay. All 3 are given, and hence agreement means agreement only. Please read. Ask doubts, if any. Gift deed. Where is the consideration? So guys and girls, we are done with the first part of the subject. That is meanings. Okay, document meaning we studied, deed meaning we studied, contract meaning and agreement meaning. All 4 are studied. Any doubts, any questions, any queries you have, please ask the questions. Else we'll move on and start with the types. Online students, any doubts? No doubts. Thank you for responding. Here students have any doubts? No doubts? Cool. Thank you so much for responding. Okay, let's move on to the next. Circular. Now guys and girls, what are we supposed to now study? Please understand everyone. So if I study about circular, you will study the meaning, the important points, one more topic, and actually the draftings. Okay, all 4 would be covered. Now this drafting has nothing to do with the original deed drafting that you learn in this subject. Deed drafting has a lot of things in that. Okay, so you'll not learn deed drafting here. It's a simple Very simple way of drafting which is given here, and you're supposed to follow that particular pattern. So what is a circular? Can anyone tell me? Very simple, guys. It is nothing but a notice which is sent to large number. So when I want to inform to the entire Aribu Pro, will I use circular or will I use notice? Circular, because I want to inform the everyone in the organization. So circular is the letter or notice which is sent to what? Large number of people. Suppose Arivu wants to inform only one particular faculty. Please leave, you are not doing good in the organization, something of that sort. Will it be notice or circular? Notice. Did you get the concept or not? So circular is nothing but it is given to large number of people. That is something that you are supposed to remember. Okay, now other things are very generic. It is in written form. Obviously, large number of information if I want to share. GST rates are changing from tomorrow. Circular or notice? Circular, because you are informing the whole of India. Everyone in India you want to inform this. Will it be in writing or oral? Written. Okay, so it would be in written form so as to create a permanent record. Circular may be issued and circulated in various modes, but in present era, the prevalent mode in which circulars are sent are electronic formats. Okay? However, conventional methods are still in operation and circulars are written, typed, printed and published on the notice boards. So a company, this is an example. A company may issue a circular to its employee for dissemination of policy approved by board of directors to be complied by employees. Director may issue circular to the shareholders. Central government may issue a circular for giving clarification on any points. Okay, so these are some of the examples of circular. So what is circular? It is a letter or a notice which is given to large number of people. It can be in electronic format or it can be conventional written format. And then examples. Anything which you have not understood here, very easy. Now what are the points that are to be included? All these points, all these points are supposed to be there. You can't miss on these points. All 7 points has to be there. Okay, when we talk about what? When we talk about circulars. First, there should be a issuing authority. See, you might have seen on WhatsApp, you'll get a notification that government has sent a notification. Next 10 days is a lockdown in Bangalore. Somebody has just written and sent it to create a prank. What is this? How will you ensure that this document is correct or not? So you have to see on the top, is there any letterhead of the government of India or government of India has written on the top? For example, here, see, government of India, name of the ministry, address. So like this, the issuing authority details should be given. Who is issuing this circular? So usually you'll see the circular on the letterhead of the company, which means who is the issuing authority there? The company is issuing it. Second, you should have details of the addressee. It should mention the details of the addressee by name designations in the circular. The addressees are required to comply with the information to all employees. So I've clearly mentioned who are the addressees, who needs this, what, who needs to follow this. Then you need to mention what? Subject. Okay. Then you need to give reference to preceding information. Subject to, the lockdowns which happened before. Government is now issuing subject to. So you have to give a reference so that it's very clear in the head of the people. So some reference to the initial policy of the company on XYZ subject matter. So reference has to be given. Then you have to give the main information. You have to give the source of authority. So basically a signatory has to be there who will sign. So he'll be the source of authority. He has given the authority to issue the circular. And last, signature has to be there. Okay, clear with the concept or not? Understood everyone or not? Okay. So point here is called as this RMS. Okay. D is what? Okay. D is what? Details of addressee. Okay. I is what? What is I? Okay. That is issuing authority. S is what? Subject matter. R is what? Reference to the preceding information. Main information. Source of authority and signature. This RMS. Okay. This relationship managers. Okay. Clear with the concept or not? Circular relationship manager, like this you can link it. Okay. So this RMS, very easy. So we'll go and see the circular right away. See, what is the information that is to be included? This RMS. Actually, apart from this, there are more information which is included, but this is something which is compulsorily required to be included. D stands for what? What is D? Bhul gaye? What is D? Details of the addressee. Can you see here? To DGCO, to regional directors, to regional of companies, to all stakeholders. So this is the details of the addressee to whom you are sending the circular. I is what? Issuing authority. Who is issuing it? Government of India. Ma'am, I forgot to write this general circular number, file number, policy. That's okay. That is really okay, guys and girls. If you write good date, you should write. Actually, this should have been a part of your this. See, they have given subject, right? This S is what? Subject. So subject, what is this all about? Why this circular? Clarification of holding AGM through video conferencing or audio visual means. Sir, madam. Now, initial information, past information. So see here, they have given past information. Then they have given main information. And then they have given the signature part here. Are you clear with the concept or not? Now, guys and girls, I cannot teach you what to write. Right? Because they may ask anything in circular. Draft a circular to give it to employees for XYZ things, ABC things, whatever. It can be asked for multiple things. I cannot sit and teach you all these things. Drafting I can teach you, but not this. Please try and understand. How will I make sure that in exam I am doing what? Following the subject matter which is there. So guys and girls, do a very simple thing. First, prepare a table. First, prepare a box. Write a circular inside the box. Or you can do opposite. First, write everything and then prepare a box for it. Because it looks neat, clean, that you have written a proper circular. On the top, write the issuing authority. Suppose a company is doing it. If the name of the company is given in the question, write that name. Suppose they have given XYZ Limited. So write here XYZ Limited. Registered office. It's okay. With time, you will learn all these things. Registered office. Guys and girls, when you are writing registered office, please write dash. Don't fill in information here. Okay, Arivupro, Bangalore. So here you have disclosed your identity. You are not supposed to disclose your identity in any case. So if the address is given, write that address. If address is not given, put a dash here. Are you clear? If the company name is given, write the name. Otherwise, put a dash. Dash limited. Write dash limited. So that they'll understand this is the name of the company. Got it? Clear? Now next is date. Ma'am, can I write date this side? No problem. You know how letter writing was. You can write this side also. You can write the other side also. So just follow a simple pattern, whatever you want to follow. Now after this should come what? Okay, to whom you are issuing? To all employees. Right? So that is how you would be writing. After that comes what? Subject. So you'll write the subject, whatever it is, the subject. Now listen to me very carefully. Then copy the format. Okay, carefully listen. Now first, try and divide your circular in points. First, the previous information, right? You are supposed to give previous information, no? Provisions for doing what? For linking the two. So previous spelling is wrong. Okay, previous provisions are to be given. And plus now the main thing is to be given. Listen now, very, very important thing I'm telling. When you are giving previous information, please write a lot of dates, numbers, etc. For example, see here, in continuation to general circular number dash. So write like this. In continuation to circular number dash, or put a circular number 20 of 2025, 26, 25 will write the exam, or 26 will write the exam. Dated on such and such date. Okay, it has been decided to allow the company to do this, blah, 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 blah. Are you clear? So you have to give the when you are giving previous data, please try and include dates and numbers, circular numbers, so that it looks very professional in approach. Then give the main body where you will give what is to be done. See here, they've given, it is clarified that the journal shall not be constituted as this timeline for which it is applicable. This issue with the approval of the competent authority. And then you'll write, you can write this also, ki competent authority has given the rights to issue this circular. Okay, and then you are supposed to do what? Competent authorities have given the rights to issue the circular, and that's where you would do what? You would write yours faithfully. Got it? Now let any circular come in exam, any, you should be able to make the format there. Okay, you should be able to make the format there. How the format would be there? First, okay, what you'll write? You would write about details of issuing authority, right? That is something you'll write here. Now, what details am I supposed to write? Okay, the name of the authority which is issuing. It can be Government of India, it can be the company's name, it can be individual who is issuing this particular. You are supposed to give address. For example, okay, it is for whole India, Government of India. So already the things have come. Okay, if possible, include SIN number in case of company. SIN dash. No need to write a SIN number. I don't want you to mug up a SIN number and write an exam. SIN dash. Everything can be dash here. So this is the first part that you will include. Then second part you will include is what? Date. Right? After date, what are you supposed to give? Details of addressee. To dash. That would be mentioned again in the question. Prepare a circular to be issued to employees, to the laborers. So write this, you are supposed to write to whom you are supposed to do. Next, you will write subject and write the subject here. Subject cannot be dash. You have to fill the subject here. Then you would divide it in point wise. Okay, this circular should be read with circular number this. Second, in continuation of the circular, you may write what is the right that you are giving. Okay, what is the circular all about? Third, you'll write this circular is issued by whom? By competent authorities. Okay, that is what you would write here. And then, since we are writing everything on left side, you can write here only yours faithfully. Don't sign. Don't write there Neha. Okay. Signatures would reveal your identity. Like me. If I sign like this, everybody would get to know I am Neha. So don't do what? Don't sign there. Then what should we do, ma'am? Just write here SD. What is SD? Signatured. Okay, SD. And here name of authority. Like this you can write and leave it there. Designation of authority. Got it or not? Clear with the concept? So we have done the standard format, and don't forget to do what? To draw a line, a box, proper box, not like mine. Okay, looking this dirty. See, I'm also trying and making it nice. Okay, so try and include it in a box. I will reduce it for you. You can copy if you want the format in your notebooks. Done? Did you copy the format, guys and girls? You can copy, guys. I'll give you time. Don't worry. Should I write one may what should be given? Previous information, current order. Cool. Very good if you're done. Last may yours faithfully, SD signatured, name of the authority. And designation. Done, everyone? Cool. Let's move on to the next. So we are done with how to draft. What is the advantage of circular? Very easy. Okay. A's of dissemination of information. Very easy way to share information. Right? Very easy way to share information. It is economical because everyone gets the information. Okay. Expeditious, very fast. It saves time and efforts. Individually, you are not supposed to go. Less efforts because once it is published on the notice board, everyone can see, and it develops consciousness. Okay, it let people know that this is something which is a problem in the organization, and everyone is supposed to work on those things. Right? Clear with the concept or not? Understood everyone or no? So that is the advantage. Are you clear with the first topic in the types? We studied what is circular. It is a document. It is a notice which is issued, letter or notice which is issued to whom? To large number of people. It can be in writing or it can be in electronic format. Okay, then we studied its content, which is CACS has what? No, not CACS in this. CACS is types. This RMS. D stands for what? Details of, okay, addressee. I stands for issuing authority. S stands for subject. R stands for the R. Reference to previous information. M stands for main information. And S stands for source of authority and signature. Are you clear with the 7 points or not? We are done with circular. Any questions, queries, please ask. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next. Now, next, public notice. Okay, public notice. See, circulars and public notice are almost same. Circulars and public notice are almost same. Okay, but circulars is meant for more larger receivers. So when I am issuing some notice to the whole of India or something, that would be called as what? A notice. It is issued generally by government agencies or individuals. So central government, state government, corporates, authorized persons or statutory corporations are one who issue the circulars. Are you clear with the concept or not? Understood? Not much. Now, what are the things that are to be included? You know, starting would be what? Issuer. Who is issuing it? Okay. Details of issuer, name of the issuer and details of the issuer. See here, XYZ Limited, name of the company. SIN number, registered office number, contact number, email ID, fax number, website. So this is nothing but name of the issuer and details of the issuer. Oh, you can't see. Okay. Name of the issuer and details. See, everything has been put as dash. You can also do it like that. So SIN number dash, registered office number dash, registered office dash, contact number, don't put your own contact number 937924933. Okay, not like that. Email ID, don't put your email ID. So all should be dash. Fax number dash, website dash. Pata chala, when the examiner is checking your paper, he is calling you and saying, you have performed well in drafting. Okay, it should not happen. So make sure you don't write the things there. So this is clear. First two details are clear, name and details. Title, heading. What is this? Okay, what exactly is this? So you are supposed to give what? Title heading. Subject. That was called as subject there. Here we call it as what? The title heading. Are you clear with the concept or not? Comprehension details. Now details you are supposed to give. What regulatory authorities are to be complied with. If there is any compliance, that information. If there is no compliances, then no such information is required. Date and place and designation of the issue. Who is issued. I think format is quite clear. We'll see one format. Okay, a little of it is seen here where the details of the issuer is given. Now see here, subject ki jagah you write what? Extract of standalone unaudited this. You don't write the heading subject, but actually it is a subject. Then you give a proper extract of what? Of details. Don't create your own details. Just put dash there. Otherwise, you start writing purchases, this, that. The main thing sales you forgot. Again, it creates a problem in exam. Don't do that. So, is this a regulatory requirement? Yes. Okay. LODR guidelines clearly says that the quarterly results are required to be published. So, I am publishing it under this, and it is also mentioned here. Date, place, and this. Okay, so date is not mentioned on the top. Date, place is mentioned here. Again, leave it dash. Don't write dates and place. Dash, that is the name of the person. You can write SD dash for and on behalf of the board of directors XYZ Limited. Or you can simply write SD dash, okay, and designation in the bracket. Here you just write designation. Here you just write name. That is also okay. There is no standard format, guys and girls. You can change the format. It's just that the essence should be there. What is the essence? The essence is on the top, issuing authority details should be there. Then you should have subject matter. Okay. And then you should have what? After subject, you don't write subject, but what is this? The reference has to be given. Okay, what is this all about? Then you have to give the main body, and then you have to conclude it with date, time, place, and here that side signatures. So that standard format is to be followed everywhere. Any doubts and questions, please ask. So these are the standard things which are required. I don't think I need to even help you mug up this. It is very easy to understand. You can read this notice also. If you have any doubts, please ask. I'll rub everything that I've written here so that it become easy for you to read. Please read this. See, we have done with circulars, meaning, content, advantage, right? And drafts. Under notice, meaning, content, and draft, right? So the two of them is done for us. Clear? Let's move on to the third one, guys and girls. Let's take a breather break of 1 minute, and then we start with the third one, which is what? Which is your standard bids and tenders. Okay, guys, so let's move on to the third one. The good part about third one is there is no draft. It's only complete theory which is there. Okay, so for third portion that is there. Ma'am, in questions, will they specify the document to be drafted or should we identify? So guys and girls, generally they would mention draft a circular like this. They'll clearly mention. Okay, 99% they'll mention, but in few cases they may give a simple situation, and based on that situation they may ask questions to you. Okay, based on that situation they may ask questions to you. So then you have to identify what document needs to be drafted there. So if a situation is given, then you would be easily able to identify. Okay, when you are giving at public at large, which means notice, when you're giving to specific set of people, because if you remember here we have the name to whom, right? Okay, so if they have said draft, identify what is to be drafted to inform all the employees, which means what is required here? circulars, right? Clear with the concept? Cool. Let's move on to the next, standard bids and tenders. You know what is tender? What is tender? Do you know this? So it's an invitation to offer. First thing, very important thing you have to understand is invitation to offer. I hope you know what is invitation to offer, which means it's not an offer right now. I am inviting people, offer. Generally, this is done for government supplies. Okay, generally this is done for government contracts, where people, it's a written offer which is given by people to supply the goods or do a particular job at an agreed price. Are you clear with the concept or not? So everyone gives their prices, and whichever is the most competitive price, that price becomes the that contract or that tender is selected. So as per Cambridge Dictionary, tender is written or formal offer to supply goods or do a job for a agreed price. So it's a written offer. I am ready to supply 10 lakh quantity of goods at 2 rupees per goods. Somebody gave an offer of 1.5 rupees. In that case, his tender would be selected and yours would not be selected. So you have to be really, really very competitive in your approach. Clear with this or no? Understood? Tendering process encourages the availability of goods on competitive price. The condition of tender should comply with the statutory regulatory requirement. That's okay. A very, very, very important case that we are supposed to study is the case of Tata Cellular versus Union of India. Okay, now what was this case? Very simple. They said a very simple thing, that Tata Cellular actually gave a they actually gave an advertisement in the newspaper of tenders. Can the terms and conditions be scrutinized here by law people? Answer is no. Company would decide, no, if you like the terms and conditions, fine. If you don't like, don't apply for the tender. Very simple. So what was said here, it was observed that the terms and conditions of the invitation to tender cannot be open to judicial scrutiny, because the invitation to the tender is the realm of the contract. Are you clear with the concept or not? Understood everyone or no? Okay, so this case you are supposed to remember. Now what points are included? Tell me generally what points would be included. Name and address of the organization who wants a tender to be there, right? Next, subject of the tender. Next, what all things you want. Next, dates by when tenders are to be submitted. Okay, and any other necessary information. A disclaimer clause that it is the discretion of the company to decide which tender to select and which tender not to select. What exactly you are supposed to do. Okay, fees. There is generally security deposits which are asked. How much is the security deposits? Condition for forfeiture. If I don't continue this tender, what conditions would be there? Okay, clear with the concept or not? Clear? Okay. Next, pre-bid meeting, scope of work, mention of technical and administrative requirements, eligibility criteria, necessary forms and documents. So I don't think I need to explain this. This is something which you are supposed to do, what? Just remember the points. So once you see a tender in the newspaper, automatically you'll see all these points. How much fees is to be deposited, earnest money basically. What is the condition when the earnest money would be forfeited? If the bidder does not withdraw his bid, if he delays in his work, if he fails to supply the things, if the quality doesn't match. So you can put the conditions, whatever conditions you want to put. Are you clear? Understood? So the third one that was there, okay, in the chart, I'm going back to my original chart, okay, was what? Okay, whatever it is, we'll write that too. Bids and tenders. Under this, meaning we have studied, and content. What is to be included and what is not to be included, that content we have studied. Right, guys and girls? Understood? Okay. So this is the third type of document that we studied. First one was notice. First one was circular. Second one was notice. And third one was tenders and any doubts, any questions you have, please ask. Is the topic clear? Okay. Now, fourth topic that we are supposed to study is letter of credit. Okay. That's the fourth point that we are supposed to what study. What is letter of credit? Anybody who knows what is letter of credit? It is given by bank. Okay. What else? It is given by bank. What else? Online students. Okay. So here is the chart for you to understand the concept. Letter of credit is basically used in exports and imports. Okay, if you are exporting or you are importing, this concept is actually used. See, importer, let's say I am supplying goods. Yes, very good. Good job. Okay, you have answered it correctly. So I am supplying goods, let's say, to somebody who is sitting in US. Do I know him? No. Do I know him? Will he cheat or not? No. Does he know me? No. So to be on a safer side, for imports and exports, letter of credits are issued. So for example, I am supplying the goods to US person. US person would become a buyer or importer. I would become, okay, Indian person would become what? The seller. Okay, US person would become the buyer. Now what would happen? First, buyer would enter into a sale contract with the seller. Right? Okay, whereby what would happen? Then buyer would go to his bank. US may, whichever is his bank, that is called as importer's bank, or that is also called as issuing bank. He'll request for credit. Okay, boss, you give a credit letter of credit, or you actually give on my behalf a guarantee that this amount would be paid. Now, issuer bank gives to advising bank. Exporters bank, that is Indian bank, is called as what? Advising bank. Okay, it is called as what? Advising bank. So they send a credit, letter of credit to whom? To these people. Okay, clear with the concept or not? Now, letter of credit is delivered to whom? To the seller. By whom? By the exporting bank. Clear? यहाँ तक समझ आया सबको? Is this clear or no? So buyer would go to his bank and request for letter of credit. Bank would do what? Give to the exporting bank the letter of credit. This letter of credit would be what? Then prepared this. So these people are only sending credits. Letter of credit would be prepared here and it would be delivered. Are you clear? So they are only giving credits. Ki it's my guarantee, it's my guarantee. Now the letter is actually prepared by advising. So clear with this? Now seller would supply the goods. Seller has got a surety, my money is safe. I will get the money for sure. He'll supply the goods. Now once he supplies the goods, he will present the documents of the goods that I have supplied all the documents. This is a proof. See, okay, the shipping receipt is there. Okay, the bill of lading is there. All the documents are there. So he'll present the documents to the exporter bank. Exporter bank would go and present the document to whom? To importer bank. The importer bank would do what? Claim the payments from the buyer. And then he will do what? Make the payments to the respective people. Are you clear? Please see once the entire procedure. Again, I'll do all my drawing removal and then you can see if you have any doubts. Please see it very carefully, point by point. Points are marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See all the points very carefully. Okay, guys. So, did you understood letter of credit? This is also called as what? This is also called as documentary credit. This is a method of payment used where? In international trade. Just now we studied this. In an LC, buyer's bank undertakes to make the payment to seller on production of documents stipulated there. Okay, clear? Now, what are the parties? Applicant bank. Who is the applicant bank? Who is the applicant bank? Importers bank, correct. Importers bank is also called as what? Applicant bank. Issuing bank. Okay. So issuing bank is a bank which opens LC and undertakes to make payment to the beneficiary or submission. So seller's bank is called as what? Issuing. Beneficiary. The person for whom the LC is opened, the exporter, is called as beneficiary. Advising bank. Okay. This is beneficiary's bank, which is also called as what? Advising bank. Confirming bank. Usually, advising bank would be confirming bank that yes, we confirm that this LC is the responsibility. Negotiating bank. The bank that negotiates the document under LC. Same, it would be advising bank only. Reimbursing bank, who makes the final payment to the person. Okay, they've given different names, but it is all same. Now, this is very important, guys and girls. Types of LC. Okay, this is very, very important. First, documentary LC and clean LC. When the LC contains a clause that the payment is conditional on submission of documents, okay, of title to goods, such as bill of lading, it is called as documentary LC. What is the word? Documentary, which means only when you submit the documents, you present the documents, then you would get the payment. Are you clear? So that is document. What is clean LC? Okay, if there is no such clause that document presentation is compulsory, it would be called as clean LC. Next, fixed credit and revolving credit. What is fixed credit? Only for one or specific more bills. One or more bills, specific bills. What is revolving? It keeps going on for a specified time period till such time the amount is not exhausted. For example, okay, this buyer and seller who are there for us, they are continuously dealing in goods and services. So they don't need fixed, they need revolving. So next 6 months, whatever transactions happen for up to rupees 2 crores, okay, that would be covered under this. So you don't need to go and open LC every time. It is called as what? Revolving credits. Are you clear? Third, recoverable and irrecoverable LCs. So recoverable LCs means what? The opening bank reserves the right to cancel or modify the credit at any moment without prior notice to beneficiary. The bank which has opened, okay, the LC, right? So the bank which has opened the LC, they may cancel anytime, okay, that is without giving prior notice to the beneficiary. That is called as revocable. Irrevocable constitute a definite understanding of the issuing bank. Such a LC, once established and advised, cannot be cancelled. Irrevocable, the name itself suggests it cannot be revoked. Clear with the concept or not? Next, confirmed and unconfirmed LCs. So you just have to remember one. Opposite of it is second. Okay, confirmed LCs. When the opening bank requests the advising bank in the exporter's country to add its confirmation to an irrevocable LC, and the advising bank does so, it is called as irrevocable and confirmed. So where a confirmation is given by advising bank, yes, this is open, everything is perfect, we are not taking it back, it is called as confirmed LCs. If the advising bank does not add any confirmation, the LC remains as unconfirmed. Okay, in such case, there will be no such obligation on the advising bank. Are you clear with the concept or not? With and without recourse. With recourse means what? If the buyer doesn't pay the amount, the bank would pay. So the guarantee is given, that is with recourse. So in with recourse, the banker as a holder of the bill can recover the amount of the bill from the drawer in case the drawee of the bill fails to pay it. In order to avoid such liabilities, the seller, exporter draws ask importer to arrange credit without recourse. So what is with recourse? Here buyer, importer has made the payment to exporter, exporter's bank has made the payment to exporter. If it is with recourse, this bank has all the rights. The importer bank has all the rights to collect the money from the seller. So that is with recourse. Without recourse means what? They have no such right to collect. Transferable LCs. We are transferring the rights to someone else. Back-to-back LCs. Okay. When a beneficiary receives a non-transferable LC, he may request a bank to open a new LC in favor of some other person. So if it is non-transferable, I cannot transfer it. So I'll open a back-to-back LC. So I will supply goods to A. Now A will open what? A will get a LC. A would open back-to-back for B. So as soon as it comes, it goes in B's accounts. LC with red clause or green clause. LC with a clause printed in red ink contains authority from the issuing bank to the advising negotiating bank to grant advances to the beneficiary up to a specified amount. So very simple. Here you can claim little amount from whom? From you can claim the amount from the bank. The exporter has a right to claim the amount from the issuing bank. Contains authority from the issuing bank that here to the advising bank can give money directly to them. So that is the red clause. What is green clause? You cannot. Okay. Red clause is an extension. Green clause is an extension of red clause. LC allowing advances for storage of goods in warehouse in addition to the packed credit. So goods are stored in warehouse. For that also you will get credit. Okay, a part of payment would be released for you. That is called as what? Green clause LC. Got it or no? Clear? Okay, next. Installment credits. What is installment credit? Okay, LC is issued for full value of goods, but part shipment of specific quantities of goods would be done. So this is installment credit. Suppose 20 lakh worth goods are to be supplied. I would supply it in the lot of 4 lakhs in 4 tranches. So I'll do the LC for entire 20 lakhs. But there would be installment credits where you will get only 5 lakhs subject to whatever goods you have dispatched. आगे बात समझ में? Is it clear or not? Did you understood this or no? So that is called as what? That is. So I want all of you to read this once. If you have any doubts, please ask. Very important topic. Revolving credit basically means, beta, it's the, since there are multiple transactions happening between the people, every time the new transaction is done, you are not entering into a fresh LC. You have a fixed amount and a fixed period. In next 6 months, up to 2 crores, if there is any transaction which is done between A and B, it is counted. So that is called as what? Revolving credit. Clear now? Understood now? Still doubts? So then ask. Back to back means what? A second LC is issued. Okay. In name of another person. Red clause means what? You will get the advance payment before the shipment of the goods. Green clause means what? You will get the advance payment even when the goods are stored in the warehouse. Okay, you have not delivered. Done? Cool, guys. So we are done with the 4th topic now. 1, we studied circulars. 2nd, we studied notice. 3rd, we studied tenders. And 4th, we studied LCs. Okay, now we would be doing what? Bank guarantee. I'll give you a break, 20 minutes break. Okay, and then we start 9:30 pay. We again start with what? With the next topic. Okay, so 20 minutes break exactly. All right, and then we start again.